Good morning, children. Welcome to English class. So, today we are going to study chapter 2, Letter to God, written by J.L. Fentz. Now, J.L. Fentz, he was a famous modern writer who has written many short stories for the young as well as for the old. A Letter to God is a simple story which is full of humor. Lencho was a hard-working farmer in the story, and he lived in a valley on the top of a low hill. One day he faced rain due to severe snowfall which damaged his crops, so he turned to God in distress and wrote a letter asking him to send money. When the letter was seen by postman, he handed the letter to the postmaster, who first laughed and then he was surprised at the fate of the writer. So he collected some money from his employees and sent it to Lancho along the letter. When Lancho got the letter with the money, so he counted, but he felt that the money is less. So he felt furious and he wrote another letter to God asking him to send rest of the money not by the post, as a post office employees they were bunch of crooks. So the house, only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From its height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lancho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but seen the sky towards the northeast. So his house was only one in the entire valley, which was on the crest of a low hill. From the height of his house, he could see the river and the field of his ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always give him good harvest. He only needed was a downpour or at least a shower. So throughout the morning, Lancho, you knew that his field very much. He done nothing but seen the sky towards the northeast. Now we are really going to get some warm water woman. The woman who was preparing supper replied, "Yes, God's willing." The older boys were working in the field while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them, "Come for dinner." Now he said to his wife, who was preparing the supper, that now we'll get some water from the sky. So his wife said, "Yes, maybe it's God's will." And then she called the three boys for the dinner. It was during the meal, just as Lancho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. Now, as soon as they dined for the dinner, the big drops of rain started to fall on the earth. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body, and when he turned, he exclaimed. So Lancho went out in the rain to feel the rain on his body, and he exclaimed in return, "These aren't raindrops falling from the sky, they are new coins. The big drops are decent pieces and the little ones are fives." So he said that these are not the raindrops which are falling from the sky, but they are the money which are falling from the sky. The big drops are for 10 decent pieces and the little ones they are of 5 decent pieces. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. This truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. So, after the rain, Lencho looked down his field, which was ripe with corn, and But suddenly he realized that these small raindrops now they are becoming large with the hailstones. Now these the boys they ran in the river to collect the frozen pearls. Now he exclaimed, he shouted that these hailstorms now they are getting bad now, and he hoped that it may pass quickly. It did not pass quickly. For an hour. The hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, and the whole valley. The field was white, as if covered with salt. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, "But the hailstones, rain, it does not pass quickly. For the coming hours, the hail rain on the house and everywhere on the whole valley. And the field, it was white with, and it looks like it covered with the salt. No tree leaf were left on the trees, and the corn, they were totally destroyed. The flowers on the corn, they were totally gone from the plant, and by seeing this, Lancho's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm passed, he stood in the middle of the field and he said to his sons, "A plague of locusts would have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn." So he looks sad, he feels sad, and he said to his sons that if a plague of locusts would have come here, they would have left more than this hailstorm. Now, because the hail has left nothing in the field, and he was very much sad that in the present year they will have no corn. So, the coming night it was very sorrowful for them, and they said that all our work for nothing. There's no one who can help us. We are all hungry this year. So he said, "We have done so much work on the field and nothing is left here. And no one here who can help us. And we will be hungry this year." But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope, help from God. But, children, they have a hope in their heart that no one will help, but only the God is here who can help us. So don't be upset, even though this seems like a total loss. Remember, no one dies of hunger. So his wife said that don't be upset, Lancho, because even it is a total loss, but you know that no one will die with hunger. That's what they say. No one dies of. So they said, yes, no one will die with hunger. All through the night, Lencho thought only one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. So throughout the night, Lencho was indulged in thought, and he hoped that the God will help, because in his stories he had listened that God sees everything, even it will be deep in one's conscious mind. Lencho was an ox of a man, working like an animal in the fields, but still he knew how to write. So Lencho, he was an able person of his field. He worked like animals in the field, but still he knew how to write. So in the following Sunday at daybreak, he began to write a letter, which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. So he started writing the letter to the God, and he carried it to the town and placed it in the mail. So it was nothing less than a letter to God. So he wrote, "God, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 plus pieces in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes, because the hailstorm." So he wrote letter to the God, and he wrote that if God don't help him, his family, and he will go hungry this year, and he only need 100 pesos in order to sow his field again and to live until the crop comes. Again he wrote to God on the envelope, put the letter inside, and still trouble went to town. So he wrote on the top of the envelope to God, and he went to town at the post office to place the stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. One of the employees, who was a postman and also helped at the post office, went to his boss laughing heartily and showed him the letter to God. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address. The postmaster, a fat, amiable fellow, also broke out laughing, but almost immediately he turned serious and tapping the letter on his desk commented. So the postman, he took the letter from the box and he took it to the post office to his boss. So when he showed this letter to post the head of the post office, then he found it was written letter to God. So he went on laughing, and the postmaster, who was a fat person, he also broke out laughing. But immediately he turned serious and he tapped the letter on his desk and he commented. What faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God. So he said that what a faith this man had. And he also imagined that this type of faith should also be in him. Who he said that see the faith of this man who wrote this letter to the God. Because of his faith, he can get whatever he wants. So this is all for today, children. In our next class, we'll continue this chapter. Till then, thank you and have a nice day.